Welcome to Learning English.
This program is designed for English learners, so we speak a little slower and we use words and phrases especially written for people learning English.
Speak up.
The Goodyear blimp is an airship that is also a traveling advertisement for the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. The airships are immediately recognizable to most Americans. For the past 100 years, Goodyear has flown blimps over major sporting events, including the Daytona 500 car race. The blimp has been at every Daytona 500 race since 1962. In 2025, to celebrate the anniversary of the Goodyear blimp, the airships are taking a special tour of big events around the country. Goodyear operates 3 75-meter-long airships, called Wingfoot 1, 2, and 3. Wingfoot 1 is based near Akron, Ohio, which is also home to the company's headquarters. Wingfoot 2 is based near Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The third airship is based near Los Angeles, California. Today, there are many camera technologies, such as drones, that have changed aerial photography. However, the blimp continues to provide pictures from the air that are unusual. At the Daytona 500, for example, the airship provides a bird's-eye view of the speedway that cannot be equaled. Fox Sports Director Artie Kempner spoke to the Associated Press about television coverage of the race. Kempner said, "It's great to show the pack racing." He added that he expected to use aerial pictures from the blimp about 50 times during his coverage. The Goodyear blimp has been a regular sight at major sporting events since flying above the 1955 Rose Bowl American football game. It became a service vehicle for television coverage, providing shots from high above events. At the same time, it has been a recognizable advertising vehicle for the Goodyear company. Over the years, blimps have undergone many changes. They have been equipped with improvements to steering, camera, and safety technology. The airship is quieter to ride because the engines and propellers have been repositioned. Riding on the blimp is not too different from traveling on a small airplane. Each can carry 12 passengers and has reclining seats, tables, seatbelts, and a bathroom. The blimp offers a smooth ride even at its top speed of 117 kilometers per hour. It's an iconic symbol for our nation, a floating piece of Americana, said blimp pilot Jensen Curvern. She added, despite changes in technology and our environment, people still get so excited to see the blimp. Goodyear representatives say the blimps have covered more than 2,500 events and taken more than 500,000 passengers for rides. President Ronald Reagan might be the most famous passenger. Already in 2025, the Goodyear fleet has flown over college football games at the Rose Bowl and the Orange Bowl, professional sports games, and golf competitions at Pebble Beach, California. One of the blimps is also expected to appear at the music festival Coachella, at WrestleMania, and at the Academy Awards. Some people, however, might wonder whether the blimp will survive another 100 years. They point to improving drone technology and note that the Goodyear blimp crew at Daytona required 20 people. But blimp pilot Curvern is not too worried. She said, "There's nothing like it in the world."
Speak up.
In 2024, the number of babies born in South Korea increased for the first time in 9 years. The change is welcome news for a country that is dealing with serious population problems. South Korea's statistics agency said recently that 238,300 babies were born last year, an increase of 8,300 from a year earlier. The agency said the country's fertility rate, the average number of babies born to each woman in her reproductive years, was 0.75 in 2024, up from 0.72 in 2023. The data represents the first time that the yearly number of births has increased since 2015. Chae Yoon-kyung is an expert with the Korea Institute of Childcare and Education. Chae told the Associated Press that researchers must wait for more data over the next few years to see if increased births were driven by structural changes. Park Hyun-young is with the government agency Statistics Korea. Park said the agency believes the rise is partly due to an increase in marriages following postponements of such plans during the COVID-19 pandemic. Park said another reason for the increase is that a growing number of people entered their early 30s. She also noted a government study that shows a small increase in the number of young people hoping to have children after marriage. Official data show South Korea's fertility rate has been the lowest in the developed world in recent years. In 2022, South Korea was the only country with a fertility rate below 1 among members of the Paris-based Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. The low fertility rate could threaten South Korea's economic health. The country, Asia's fourth largest economy, could face labor shortages and greater spending on public assistance programs. South Korea's central and local governments have been increasingly offering several support programs to those who give birth to children. But experts say that it will be difficult to solve the country's population problems. Many young people say they do not want to have babies. Their reasons include costly housing, low levels of upward social movement, the high costs of raising and educating children, and a culture that requires women to do more of the childcare. Park said that the fertility rate will likely stay on an upward movement at least for another year. But observers say it remains to be seen whether the rate will go back down as post-pandemic marriages even out. The country's population structure will also change, with a drop in the number of people in their early 30s. Some experts argue that the government should pay more attention to supporting young couples who want to have babies. There are still people with solid wills to have a family and babies. When we help them realize their hopes, our fertility rate won't suffer a steep 45-degree drop, Che said.
Speak up.
Astronomers following asteroid activity in space estimate there is a very small chance an object large enough to destroy a whole city could strike Earth in 2032. But space agency officials say even if such an asteroid keeps heading on a path toward Earth, the world is now much better equipped to defend itself against such a threat. The American Space Agency, NASA, recently estimated there was a 3.1% chance that asteroid 2024 YR4 would hit Earth on December 22, 2032. That is the highest probability predicted for such a large space rock in modern times. Richard Moisel is head of the European Space Agency, or ESA's, Planetary Defense Office. While recognizing the risk the asteroid could present, he told the French news agency AFP, people should not panic over such predictions. Astronomers have noted that the more data they gather, the odds of a direct asteroid hit are expected to keep rising over time. However, scientists say, at a certain point, the odds will likely drop down to zero. Moisel said he thinks it is important to remember that even in the unlikely event the probability keeps rising to 100%, the world is not defenseless. Here are some methods currently being considered as defensive measures to keep humanity safe in case there is a real threat. Only one planetary defense method has been tried against an asteroid. In 2022, NASA's Double Asteroid Redirection Test, or DART, sent a spacecraft into the 160-meter-wide Dimorphos asteroid. The effort successfully changed the asteroid's orbit around a larger space rock. Bruce Betts is chief scientist for the nonprofit Planetary Society. He told AFP that space agencies could hit the 2024 YR4 asteroid with several spacecrafts, observing how each one changed the path. The asteroid discovered in December is estimated to be 40 to 90 meters wide, about half the size of Dimorphos. You have to take care not to overdo it, Moisel warned. He said this is because if a spacecraft only partially destroys an asteroid, it could send smaller pieces of the space rock heading toward Earth. A separate idea would involve sending a large spacecraft to fly alongside a threatening asteroid. The spacecraft would not touch the asteroid, but would use its gravitational force to pull it away from Earth. Moisel said another non-contact plan would put a spacecraft near the asteroid to eject a continuous flow of atoms to push the asteroid off course. Scientists have also considered painting one side of the asteroid white. They believe this could increase the light the object reflects to make it slowly change course. One idea is to use a nuclear weapon against a threatening asteroid. In laboratory tests, researchers found that X-rays from a nuclear blast could move a rock. But this is considered more of a plan for kilometers-wide asteroids, like the one that killed off the dinosaurs. And this method also carries the risk that a nuclear explosion could send additional pieces of the asteroid falling toward Earth. A similar method, but one considered less dangerous, would involve shooting laser beams from a spacecraft to destroy the side of an asteroid in an effort to push it away from Earth. Moisel said that if all else fails, at least the world will have a good idea where a threatening asteroid would strike. Since astronomers believe most asteroids would at most threaten to destroy one city, efforts could be organized to get people out of an area before a strike. 7.5 years is a long time to prepare, Moisel added. He also noted that even with the rising odds involving 2024 YR4, there is still about a 97% chance the asteroid will miss Earth.
Speak up.
You are listening to the lesson of the day.
I'm hungry. When I'm hungry, I only want to eat junk food. But I know I should eat healthy food. So I fight with myself. One side says, you should eat healthy food. The other side says, but I want to eat junk food.
In today's lesson, we are going to teach vocabulary you can use to talk more about this subject.
Let's start with this idea that Anna is fighting with herself. We call this an internal conflict because it's a conflict within one's self. Or we can just say that a person feels conflicted.
And notice the different pronunciation between the noun, conflict, and the adjective, conflicted. We stress the first syllable in the noun, conflict, and we stress the second syllable in the adjective, conflicted.
And we can also use the expression torn between to describe an internal conflict. Anna is torn between buying junk food and buying healthy food.
And notice how Andrew used a verb with ing after the word between. We can be torn between two choices, or torn between doing two things.
So, Faith, here's a question for you. When you feel torn between two choices, how do you decide what to do?
Well, I listen to my gut, my tummy. When you listen to your gut, you listen to your instincts or your inner thoughts, right? So that's what I do. I listen to my inner thoughts, I listen to my gut, and usually my first instinct is the right one.
I think that is a good idea because you're listening to your feelings, and your feelings will usually give you a good answer. You can also listen to your stomach when you're hungry.
Yes, which is what is happening now. Anna is torn between two things because she is tempted to buy junk food, even though she knows healthy food is better. The verb tempt means to try to get someone to choose something. And sometimes that thing might not be very good for you.
And the noun form of this word is temptation. So, Faith, is there any kind of junk food that you are tempted to buy when you go to the store?
You have a lot of questions for me today, Andrew. I'm always tempted to buy chips. I have a love for crunchy and salty things, hence my love of popcorn. But sometimes I want something even saltier, like potato chips or tortilla chips. How about you?
Oh, yes, I'm tempted to buy some junk food or some snack food. For me, I think it's more on the sweet side. I'm tempted to buy muffins, which are like little cakes, and donuts and cookies. You get the idea. And even though I do get tempted to buy donuts, I'm pretty good about not buying them.
But they do taste good.
True. And they are a part of Anna's internal conflict. Let's listen.
I smell fresh bread. I love the smells of a bakery.
Oh, Anna, let's buy a fresh loaf of whole wheat organic bread.
You don't have to buy bread. Buy some donuts, Anna.
You mustn't buy donuts. They are only fat and sugar.
Exactly. You know, you are really no fun at all.
And you must think having high cholesterol is fun.
Everyone likes donuts. That is why you don't have friends.
And that is why your cholesterol is so high.
My cholesterol is none of your business.
And I have lots of friends. No!
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! I am sick and tired of the both of you!
Notice that the word smell can be both a verb and a noun.
I smell fresh bread. I love the smells of a bakery.
Andrew, now I get to ask you a question. What food do you love the smell of?
Ooh, I love the smell of lots of things. I also love the smell of baking bread, of baking chicken, of curry sauce, and of flavored coffee. Lots of things. Oh, and I love the smell of fresh donuts too.
Me too. Me too. We should explain that donuts are round, sweet breads and cakes with a little hole in them, shaped like a wheel, or without holes and filled with cream or something sweet.
But what about donuts and cholesterol?
And you must think having high cholesterol is fun.
Everyone likes donuts. That is why you don't have friends.
And that is why your cholesterol is so high.
That's more technical. Cholesterol is similar to fat and is made in an organ in the body called the liver. Your body needs cholesterol, but some doctors think too much of it can cause heart problems.
I have one more food question. Anna's healthy voice wants her to buy organic bread. What does organic mean?
In the United States, organic means food that has been grown without using chemicals to kill insects or harmful plants. Many people think organic food is healthier, but it is usually more expensive.
So that means they might feel torn between saving money and buying something they think is healthier.
Exactly. Both are tempting.
We have one more expression to talk about today. Anna's internal conflict becomes so bad that she finally says,
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! I am sick and tired of the both of you!
If you are sick and tired of something, that means you really dislike it and don't want to experience it anymore. We often use this expression to describe behavior or the way other people act that we don't like.
and notice the preposition of at the end of the expression. Anna is sick and tired of the two voices in her head. And because of is a preposition, we can again use a verb with ing after it.
Right. Like I can say, I'm sick and tired of listening to that person complain. Or I'm sick and tired of arguing with you.
But Faith, I hope you're not sick and tired of speaking with me.
I could never be sick and tired of speaking with you, Andrew. You're so fun to talk with.
Oh, well, that's very nice. Thank you. That makes me feel good. And we hope you've enjoyed the lesson of the day on the Learning English podcast.
Speak up.
Next up, a topical report from The Guardian. Modern physics deals with some truly mind-boggling extremes of scale. cosmology reveals the Earth as a tiny dot amid an observable universe that is a staggering 93 billion light-years across. Meanwhile, today's particle colliders are exploring a microcosmic world billions of times smaller than the smallest atom. These two extremes, the biggest and smallest distances probed by science, are separated by 47 orders of magnitude. That's one with 47 zeros after it, a number so ludicrously huge that it isn't worth trying to get your head around. And yet, despite exploring such radically different distances and phenomena, cosmology and particle physics are deeply connected. Observing the motions of stars and galaxies can reveal the influence of as yet undiscovered particles, while studying fundamental particles in the lab can tell us about the birth and evolution of the cosmos. Intriguingly, both disciplines are grappling with unexplained results that could be pointing to the existence of a new force of nature. If such a new force were to be confirmed, the implications for our understanding of the universe, its history and makeup, would be profound. There are 4 forces that we already know about. Gravity governs the grandest scales, marshalling the planets and their orbits, and shaping the evolution of the universe as a whole. Electromagnetic force gives rise to a vast range of phenomena, from the magnetic field of the Earth to radio waves, visible light, and X-rays, while also holding atoms, molecules, and by extension the physical world together. Deep within the atomic nucleus, 2 further forces emerge. The vice-like strong force which binds atomic nuclei, and the weak force which, among other things, causes radioactive decay and enables the nuclear reactions that power the sun and the stars. Studying these forces has transformed our understanding of nature and generated revolutionary new technologies. Work on electromagnetism in the 19th century gave us the electric dynamo and radio broadcasts. The discovery of the strong and weak forces in the 1930s led to nuclear energy and atomic bombs, while understanding gravity has made it possible to put astronauts on the moon and to develop GPS satellites that can tell us our location anywhere on Earth to within a few meters. Uncovering a 5th force would be one hell of a prize. Hints that physicists may be on the brink of making such a breakthrough have been accumulating over the past decade. The first tranche of evidence comes from particle physics experiments here on Earth, the results of which appear to conflict with our current best theory of fundamental particles, the Standard Model. Notwithstanding its rather uninspiring name, the Standard Model is one of humankind's greatest intellectual achievements, the closest we have come to a theory of everything, and has passed almost every experimental test thrown at it with flying colours. So far, at least. However, the Babar experiment in California, the Bell experiment in Japan, and the LHCb experiment at CERN have all spied exotic fundamental particles known as beauty quarks, behaving in ways that go against the predictions of the Standard Model. Meanwhile, just outside Chicago, Fermilab's Muon G2 experiment has been busily studying another type of fundamental particle called muon, finding that it emits a slightly stronger magnetic field than expected. The most exciting explanations for these anomalies involve hitherto unknown forces of nature that subtly alter the way beauty quarks transform into other particles or mess with the muon's magnetism. Such a new force could help unlock a deeper structure at the base of reality, explaining why we have the fundamental particles in nature that we do. Another tantalizing possibility is that it could act as a link to the unseen dark universe made from invisible dark matter. That said, for now, the overall picture remains frustratingly murky. Just over a year ago, new results from LHCb poured cold water on the prospects of a big breakthrough after missed biases were found in some of the earlier measurements. Meanwhile, theorists have been debating just how magnetic the muon really ought to be, leaving open the possibility that this anomaly is down to a calculational problem. Perhaps the most compelling evidence for a new force at work in the universe comes from the other end of the cosmic scale. For the past few years, cosmology has been riven by what has become known as the Hubble crisis, a dramatic disagreement over how fast the universe is expanding. According to the accepted cosmological story, the universe as we know it began with the Big Bang around 13.8 billion years ago and has been expanding ever since, with galaxies carried even farther apart as the space between them stretches. Cosmologists have two ways of figuring out how fast space is stretching. One involves studying a host of far-off galaxies through telescopes, then determining the relationship between their distance and how fast they appear to be rushing away from us. The other exploits exquisitely precise maps of faded light from the fireball of the Big Bang, known as the cosmic microwave background, to infer the properties of the infant universe. Then you apply current cosmological theory to run the clock forward and predict how fast the universe ought to be expanding today. The fact that these two methods give different answers is the strongest evidence we have that there is more to the universe than we've imagined so far. Possibilities abound. A popular proposal involves a form of energy that drove the universe to expand even more rapidly than thought soon after the Big Bang. Others involve dark forces acting in the hidden world of dark matter. Some have even proposed that gravity itself behaves differently over the vast spaces between galaxies. How the story of these anomalies will end is unclear, but the wealth of emerging evidence does suggest that physics may be on the brink of something big. The discovery of a new force would mark the start of a new age of exploration, perhaps offering a deeper understanding of the basic building blocks of nature or opening the door to a vast, unknown dark realm, which, despite being invisible, contains 95% of everything that exists. Such breakthroughs are always hard-won, but following nature's breadcrumb trail may soon lead to a profound new view of the universe.